Call this the Selectmen's meeting for Monday, September 14th to order. It's almost 6:30, close enough. And please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay. We'll do the approval of the manifests. I'll pass those down.
I'll make a motion, we approve the accounts payable manifests of August 31st, 2015, and September 14th, 2015, and the payroll manifest of September 1, 2015, and September 15, 2015.
Man, that's a lot.
I will second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone, folks? Oops, excuse me. While we do that, there's a set of minutes to approve for August 27th. Do I hear a motion on that?
So moved.
To approve?
So moved. As
Yeah,
amended.
there was a
There
little
was one, Mary had one.
typo, a little teeny thing. Is that a second?
Yeah.
All those in favor of approving them as amended?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Done. Okay. BOS reports, assigned boards and committees. Who wants to go first?
Planning board met last week. Short meeting, not a lot was on the table. There was a discussion about a lot line adjustment for 66 and 68 Garland Road. They were referred to the zoning board, because there's an exception needed in the amount of frontage that they have, because part of the property is in Nottingham, part of the property is in Epping. Pretty standard.
Yep.
Then they reviewed budget. Talked about Nottingham Day. There is going to be a land use board booth at Nottingham Day. So they're looking for people to staff that. We discussed, two of the members will be going to the joint meeting with Raymond.
Okay.
It's coming up. And then our dates for November meeting dates will be the 4th and the 18th.
What is that again?
The 4th and the 18th of November.
Thank you.
And we're looking at some changes to the zoning ordinances, mostly to bring the language and definitions in line with the subdivision regulations.
Good idea.
So it's mostly around definitions. So we'll be talking about that in one of the upcoming meetings in either October or early November.
And the public hearing on the changes. Public hearing coming up.
Yeah, that was the lot line adjustment that I talked about.
Okay.
Okay, yep, that was it.
Very good. Excellent.
I was unable to attend the budget committee meeting, so could somebody?
You did.
And you did? We presented third quarter, as I recall.
August, yeah, 2/3.
Yeah, 2/3 of the budget. Chris pointed out the things that were sticking out at the moment, but are all kind of moving right along. Nothing really big, really. The budget committee was somewhat interested. I mean, well, they were very interested, but it's kind of just chugging along. Anything to add, sir?
No, not much has changed since we talked budget, end of July. Revenue, we got some more,
Oh, the revenues were up. That was.
we got some more surprise revenue since the four of us have been
Oh, we did?
together. One of the floods, I don't know which one, we finally got a check from FEMA for reimbursement of some flood expenses, so that was a we weren't carrying it as a receivable or anything like that. It was just out there. Somebody had done a whole lot of legwork a few years ago.
Yeah, Charlie had.
And
Thank you, Charlie.
pulled in 62 grand
I was gonna say,
that we really weren't expecting. I wasn't aware of it, so revenue numbers continue to look very strong. We're gonna finish maybe $250,000 over
So where do those funds go?
general fund. They'll fall to the unassigned fund balance.
and now that can stay there, and the DRA requires a certain percentage to be held, but also that can be used for reducing taxes, a portion of it. So,
Last year, we were just a little shy of what that recommended
right,
threshold was,
yeah,
right? So-
right. We're on the high end, not on the low end. We're usually pretty much in the middle. We weren't quite in the middle like we always are, we were more closer to the number we should
Well,
be at.
we've been increasing that since 2012 on purpose,
Right,
to get back into.
Right.
yep. Okay. Anything else on the budget? Okay, so that takes care of that. Oops, go ahead.
So, just a question, Dawn, could you email me or somehow get to me the dates for the rest of the budget committee meetings that are set, please?
That was on my list of things to do today, to send out the calendar reminders for everybody about those budget committee meetings, but with the email difficulty, I didn't even bother. So
Okay.
those will come at some point within the next couple of days. So
Yeah,
just
next-
accept them, it'll add it to your
If you did,
calendar. and-
even over the next week, if you did it, it would be helpful. I just.
When's the next budget committee meeting, just to put down?
It is-
September 24th.
So they must be in their every other week mode now?
Yeah, just about. 24th is budget workshop review, subcommittee reports, school and town general updates, school tech plan.
Okay.
But your first draft of the budget is due to them on,
November
November.
5th.
Okay. Those are the important dates.
6 weeks away.
Plenty of time.
Yeah, right. It always creeps up so fast. Okay, so we'll go on to the town department reports.
All right, Nottingham Family Day, Saturday, the 19th.
Thank you.
The festivities begin at 10, they go till 4. A couple new things this year, a touch-a-truck for kids in the afternoon, including our new fire truck and a race car and some kind of assault vehicle from the sheriff's department. I'm not sure what it is, but
Can they leave the assault vehicle home?
but probably a bunch of things that local kids haven't had a chance to get up close and personal to. There's a treasure hunt walk for families. There's a chili cook-off. Want to give a plug to the 3 big sponsors, 3 local businesses that are helping out: Hillside Landscaping, Roland Sewer Service, and Trash Busters. Thank you very much.
Very nice.
I think that's it on Family Day. I haven't looked at the weather.
Oh, it looks like it's gonna be gorgeous.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
When Janet goes out looking for sponsors, how far does she spread her net?
I don't think it's that far.
Should you ask her to spread her net a little bit farther, like?
Yeah, we can, it's probably not too late. It's a little late for the promotional materials,
Yeah,
but
well.
we can get you a plug somewhere, I'm sure. If you don't have your Gen tent yet, winter's coming.
No. Don't cross the line. Don't cross the line.
Let's
But I'm looking
discuss
for-
sponsorship fees.
Next,
We could start having advertisements behind us,
for next
kind of like a
year.
ball field.
Right,
For next
right,
year.
right.
Okay.
Would be the
Let's get serious.
Gen Tent hall building.
I want everybody to know that I'm not saying anything.
We're just yanking your chain.
It was a busy, Labor Day weekend was really busy for police and fire. We had a couple folks, we lost a couple folks, had a slew of medical calls. I got a call from the fire chief who wanted to make sure that we recognize some of the police officers. There were a whole bunch of police officers helping out on medical calls. In a lot of cases, they get there first.
Yeah,
Yep.
Were these Pawtuckaway?
No,
related, or-
actually, they weren't. They were here in town, but I think he mentioned just about the whole department. Chief Foss, Lieutenant Spagna, Nate, John, Mike, all jumped in on a call over Labor Day weekend. It was really busy. It quieted down this past weekend, thankfully. Fire department hosted Sarah's Ride?
Ride, yeah.
Sarah's Ride is a charity thing for girls going to firefighting camp. And they had like 300 motorcyclists come through the fire station this weekend. So.
There's a 5-minute video on Facebook
Nice.
that I don't know if the chief posted it or somebody, but of them leaving the station.
and just
It
leaving.
took that
and
long for
leaving,
the video.
And leaving, yeah. Can we make sure that those folks from the police department that were mentioned specifically, that they get a letter in their file?
Yeah, I'll have to pin down some more details on it. It was a broader,
Okay. And if,
you know.
and if the fire chief wants to recognize some of his firefighters,
yep.
EMTs and that sort of thing, can we do that? These are important to be in their file if they go the extra mile.
And then the last thing, I just want to give you a heads up. We don't have any decisions ready on it yet, but there's a dilapidated old house on Freeman Hall Road at the intersection of Kennard and Garland and Freeman Hall, across the street from that church there. We've been going back and forth, and the tax collector's been working on this for years. The woman that owned it passed away. We've got a outstanding tax bill on it. The heirs of the property, we're pretty sure we've got that pinned down now, but it's been one of those sticky situations that is elevating as the condition of the building gets worse. It looks like we found some doors open lately, and it's becoming a bigger safety concern. So I think we're gonna be coming to you in the next few weeks with a plan to, we're not sure, we have a couple paths to go down, but we need to address the building as a safety concern. Whether that means we take the property by way of tax deed, or we go condemn it and get court permission to demolish it while somebody else owns it. Those are two wildly different paths, but we've been working with our council on how to do that.
How long has it been unoccupied?
A couple of years.
Yeah, quite a
Anyway,
while. And was
at least 2 years, yeah.
It was already in bad shape before that.
Probably, yeah.
It was, I think it's been really not seriously occupied for, I would say, probably,
5.
yeah, 5 years.
Yeah.
And, so is her estate being probated?
It was not.
Wow.
And that's one of the things that
Yeah.
complicates things. Yeah, she passed away while in a nursing home or some kind of
And there was
extended
no
care.
will and that whole thing?
Right,
Yeah.
so,
That
we have
is-
to figure out which legal path to take, and we have to figure out how we're gonna pay for it. Because we didn't plan on that cost, so, we'll
We've
recover.
got a little wiggle room in the budget at the moment.
Yeah, we have a lot of things queuing up for that wiggle room, so,
Yeah, okay.
we'll have that figured out when we come back to you, but I just wanted to give you the heads up that it's coming.
Okay.
I know some of the neighbors have been concerned about it for a long time, and we've been struggling with the legal side, but, we're getting close on that, so. I think that is it for now. You'll hear from me several more times.
Can I ask you a question? Remember there was a discussion about trucks going down Garland Road?
Yeah.
Whatever happened with that?
Well, I've been communicating with somebody over there this week on that. We left off with that, you telling me to go figure out how big a problem it is, trying to quantify it. And I've had a heck of a time doing that. Right now, I'm waiting for the final answer from Stratford Regional Planning on what it would take to do a count. They have a way to count trucks versus cars. They've just come out of their contract summer season where they can pay attention to stuff like this. Where we're not a member or a dues-paying member of the Planning Commission, they may be able to help us, they may not. It's gonna cost us something. I'm just waiting to find out what those answers are. They're still concerned about it out on Garland. And so what I hope to have for you in a couple weeks is at least if you want hard numbers, I'm gonna be able to give you a cost of finding those hard numbers.
Okay.
I think it's gonna be prohibitive, but I don't know for sure yet.
Okay.
Okay.
Question I had was, when are we committed to putting the handicap access door? When is that gonna happen?
That will be, I think, Paul's working on that. I think it's late October where we are now. We've got a vendor. We're waiting, we have to get the electrical stuff done first. And I think we got that pinned down, but we get that done first, then we can do the door, but we know who's gonna
So
do it.
before winter,
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
is a hard commitment, before winter,
yeah.
before the first snow.
I can't do that because I don't know when it's gonna snow.
Nice try, though. Yeah, we said that was gonna happen in the fall, and I just wanna
Yep.
make sure that we're moving forward.
Yep. Yeah, the number came in where we expected it to, so, we're just waiting on the electrical piece.
Beans.
Without any, there's one, you got the mail, there's only one thing in the signature folder, and that's to recognize a former or a retiring library trustee. Do we have 2 seconds to do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
the
It's
chair.
Kathleen Matthews. She's worked tirelessly at the library in various capacities.
So are you just asking us to sign this, or are
Um,
you asking me to read this?
I just wanted you to see it before we
Okay.
vote on it.
Okay.
And I think it
Already
wouldn't
read it.
wouldn't hurt to read it.
We asked for this, didn't we?
Yes.
Okay. You all set with it?
I read it earlier tonight.
Okay.
Is it too long to read for the public's
I-
consumption?
No, I'll be happy to read it. This is Kathleen Matthews. Dear Kathleen, we are writing to thank you for your service to the town of Nottingham and Blaisdell Memorial Library. On behalf of everyone in town, we greatly appreciate your work during 5 years on the Board of Trustees. We know that you were responsible for numerous fundraising activities and have been the driving force behind the beautification of the library grounds. The library is a tremendous asset to our community, and much of that is thanks to the tireless efforts of volunteers like you. We hope that you will stay involved with the library and other town activities. Thanks again, the Nottingham Board of Selectmen.
You're here. And then after that, I think we can, get your check signed and everything. I think we can invite the CIP members up to the
There's some
table.
initials that we need to put on some,
Let's do that in non-public. We have a couple of related things there.
I'm gonna ask the members of the CIP to come up to the table here and we can start our discussion.
Can we sit up there so we can?
Oh, by all
Yeah.
means, would you?
actually, Gene, you need to sit over there.
Why, has he been bad again?
No.
So I've got the 821 draft. Is that still the relevant?
The only one I think.
There's only one, yep. Why can I not get this? There we go.
I wear deodorant. Okay. Sometimes.
Thank you guys for coming. Please identify yourself for the folks at home.
Gene Reed, Capital Improvement Committee,
Representing,
representing Budget Committee.
thank you.
John Warren, Planning Board.
Thank you.
That's it?
That's it. They know us.
Yep, okay. Well, that was my first question. Who are the members this year?
You're looking at it.
We be it.
Did you want to invite somebody to be just a regular citizen of town as a person at large? Just to,
I think we had discussed that and we just decided to head in this direction. Are we open to someone from the?
this is the first meeting, so it's pretty
Yeah.
much an open book,
Yeah.
I take it.
What's
for what
going
we're
on?
talking about.
Yeah,
Because usually there was always somebody that was.
yeah.
So I just didn't know if that was gonna be.
I don't have an issue with it either way.
He was the chair, who, it was,
He was on the, he was on the building committee.
It was Tom.
Yeah, Tom. He was on the
Okay.
building committee.
Yeah, he was representing the building committee, that's right, too.
Representative
I
from
don't, I
building
don't
committee.
remember
I thought he was, I
An
thought
ad
he was
hoc.
a person that.
I'm not opposed to that, but I'm not aware of, you've been on more CIPs than anybody, I'm not aware of.
I don't think,
Any of the-
now, in
I thought he was
retrospect,
that. I didn't know
yeah,
about the building
in
committee,
retrospect,
so
I don't
maybe
think
I
there
was
has been.
mistaken.
Yeah.
If there, maybe in the beginning, maybe, but that was a
So
while.
what I would propose is that, let's proceed like this. If there is a citizen out there that'd like to come and listen and participate from
The
the.
budgeting process?
You know, that's fine, but maybe next year, when we start to put it together, we can have a more formal decision whether we
Sure.
add somebody.
Sounds like a
That,
good
that way
idea.
we don't delay something that's been delayed many times already.
Already, yep.
Just for clarification, though, you just said if anybody wants to come and participate in the budgeting process. This
Yeah.
isn't the budgeting, this is the
Right.
planning.
The
The
planning.
planning of the budgeting process.
Anybody has-
It has to do with money.
By all means, all of the Board of Selectmen related activities are open to the public, and anybody that ever wants to come and provide any feedback or input, they're always welcome, so.
I think it would help to explain what it is we're doing. It's the Capital Improvement Program Committee. So capital improvements, our budgeting function, we're hoping that our CIP plan does help the budgeting process.
The purpose of the CIP plan is to inform the budgeting process, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's, right, carry away.
Yep.
So anyway, go ahead, Chris.
Well, you got a pile from me a couple weeks ago. I got a few slides that I want to show you tonight that either update or clarify or
Okay.
highlight a few things there. I don't think we have too much to do tonight. I'd really like to just get a sense of what are your biggest questions and who do you want to talk to? Where do you want to go from here? We're not going to solve it all tonight, but since it's the first time we're all here, what more do you need? Where do you want to go next? Who do you want to talk to? That's where I'd like to end up tonight.
Can you flip that up on the TV?
Yeah, I think so. Let's see here. Let's try that.
Ooh la la.
Before you dive in,
There you are,
I
folks,
just
you're
want
looking
to
at what
say,
we're looking at.
I just want to say, in all my years sitting and serving this town, this is the finest package that I've ever been given ahead of time for a meeting, so very, very well done, Chris. Thank
Yep.
you.
Good, thank you.
I'll second that.
I've expressed that on several occasions. I'm stunned at how nice it is. Thank you. And how informative it is.
Well, I'm sorry you're stunned.
I know. And I've been on the CIP committee since practically its inception.
That was a little backhanded compliment, wasn't it?
Okay.
No, I mean,
It's okay.
I see what you mean.
Let's
I guess
get-
that- I guess-
Two of our members have another meeting at 7:30, so
Okay.
let's, I'm not gonna show you
You know
all the.
what I meant.
I know. I'm not gonna show you all the slides you have in front of you. You have them in front of you. I can put them up here if you wanna see them, but that's not what I have here. Just first, a finalization on the tax base, on the reval. The numbers, they haven't changed dramatically, but here's the,
What page is that in the existing packet?
it's not in there. This is,
Can you make sure we get
Well,
that, Chris?
it's page one, just
But
right next to
updated.
where it says tax base.
yeah, your page one has a dotted line,
Yeah,
because we didn't know what the reval was gonna tell us.
okay.
So we're done with the reval. Total net valuation is just under 600 million, which is what we thought it was gonna be a few weeks ago. We didn't have any dramatic changes late in the game. A quick look at the change, the change from 2014 to 2015, the reval, most of the increase in value in the tax base was in residential land. The value of the buildings in town didn't go up very much. Value of the utility property spiked quite a bit. Other than that, it's pretty flat. And I pulled out the last time we did a reval was 2010. So I've got the change here for you from 2010 to 2015.
Oh, great.
You look at it over a little longer time, it tells you a little bit more. 2010 was post-crash, mid-recession,
Yep.
you know, or early on the way out of the recession, I guess. But what this tells you is that in 5 years, the tax base has gone up by 13%. Almost all of that is in residential property. 60 out of 68 million in increase. The value of our commercial and industrial land has dropped. Again, it's mostly land, not so much buildings.
Right, land, not buildings.
Correct.
Yeah.
And it's really just driven by what the current market is.
Yep. Yeah, we have some development. It's not been a booming 5 years, so it's part residential development. We've had next to no commercial and industrial development. USA Springs has decreased in value, so that's our big commercial industrial property. That value has gone down. I didn't pull that particular
Yeah, the
property out.
reval on
but,
that, you don't have.
I can get it, but I didn't pull
What
it
happened
out.
to the utilities and what's that increase?
I'm still waiting for a good answer on that. We had a big jump in 15, and we talked about this 2 weeks ago. I still don't have a good answer for you, but I'm working on it. I think some of it is the kind of catching up and getting ready for a decision on the Fairpoint case.
Yeah,
You're here, yep.
yeah.
Right? And maybe Gene can speak better to this than I can, but.
You've done a good job so far, but it does relate back to the Fairpoint cases, which are still pending.
Yeah.
And there have been some agreements, and we're part of a group that's pursuing litigation on that, and that was all set off by an RSA change,
Yeah.
having to do with taxing poles and utilities, poles and conduits for utility companies,
Yeah. And you'll see.
which were exempt before.
Right, and you're actually gonna see us, we're working right now on changing our pole and license agreements and our process for that. You have a public hearing scheduled in October for us to change your ordinance here in town and our licensing arrangements to get ready for that Fairpoint decision. So, we're kind of watching other towns do all these things, and we'll fill you in more on that when it comes, but, it's one of those long lead time things, but.
So that, we do not have a copy of that. Can you make sure that we get that?
Yeah, I can send you all these things. So some of this stuff I realize leaks into kind of master planning more than capital improvement planning, but what this is telling us is that residents are gonna carry the cost of anything you do in capital improvements. That's why it's here, to remind us that that's what's going on. I don't need to tell you that, but.
Well, sometimes folks don't realize that, so it's good to bring it out.
The next thing I want to show you, in your package, you have this monstrous grid late in the game that covers all our vehicle fleet. A big chunk of the CIP is vehicles. And I wanted to make sure that you look down in the weeds at one part in particular, and that's the highway department. This is one of the tough spots on the horizon. In 4 years, starting in 2017, we expect all of these things to reach the end of their useful life. A 6-wheel dump truck, a 10-wheel dump truck, a grader, a loader, and a pickup truck. All, you don't know this far in advance what year that's gonna be, but you know what range.
In the next 10 years, kind
So
of.
the yellow indicates the risk range.
The end-of-life range, yep. And some of these things you can stretch out indefinitely, you just start paying more to do so. But that is one of the big, there are two big kind of bumps. One is a fire truck, and two is this collection of highway trucks.
So, from a drill down perspective, when we get into this, I think that we want to spend, because I want to spend a lot of time with Johnny understanding this. You know, I've got a series of questions revolving around roads that we maintain. I got questions revolving around how we justify a grader and a loader, how do you re-justify it? You know, what are the alternatives? You know, I've got questions all surrounding all of that stuff, and I'm sure other people do too, but, you know, this seems to be the soft, spongy part of the whole CIP to me, and one that we can end up spending an awful lot of money.
Yeah, one of the things with John is that he does a lot of work in-house, which might seem expensive until you try to sub it out. Then you really see costs.
Yeah, and I would expect that this group would ask for those hard costs, those estimates, even if they're ranges, it's okay, but, you know, put some numbers to it so that we're not just saying what
The
we've
other
been
thing-
saying forever.
The other thing that we have to look at is the fact that some of our highway department will be retiring,
That's right.
and so there may be a substantial change in the way
Change in-
that we do.
Exactly,
It may not be done in-house
exactly,
to the extent that we've been doing it. It may not be possible.
exactly.
So that's another thing that we're gonna have to look at. A lot of changes coming into town.
Are you asking for justification for those?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Or explanation.
I like the word justification.
No, that's too hard. Okay,
All right,
that's an interesting.
next subject,
That's the loop, eh?
that's the soft spot, yeah.
That's the,
Next one, I threw in some population projections here. I know this is on your radar. I could get way down in the weeds on this, but
population's up.
Is that in here, or is it?
no, nothing on screen you
You'll
have.
just email,
Yep.
email us these updates.
Yep.
Okay,
This hasn't changed since the last time you saw it, but just a couple things on population that there are projections out there from OEP, and I gave you some of that stuff. I think they're high, given that when they were made and the growth rates that they're based on, but the bottom line is, I think we can expect about 10% more population in the next 5 years. Ish.
5 years?
But yeah, 5, 6, yeah.
Are you basing that basically on what the current?
Mostly on
Built today, or?
on what
approved
on what OEP did. Office of Energy and Planning does town by town population projections periodically. They lasted theirs in 2013. They projected more than 10%.
They projected closer to 20 for
Right,
30.
to lead the region kind of growth, which we haven't seen since 2013. We know, because we haven't had that much development. The pace of building permits is the best local data that we have. The pace of building permits from 2014 and 15 is more like a 2% annual growth kind of thing.
that was kind of the
when we-
numbers I was seeing with the
that's real.
federal
And
numbers.
that's looking at building permits just that are
Dwellings,
dwellings, not
Yeah.
additions and.
correct.
Yeah.
If you look historically at what this pace of dwelling development did to population, I think that's how I get to 10% in 5 years, or ish, 2%. And then OEP.
2% a year.
Right.
10% in 5.
Yeah. OEP really flattens out after that. Their projections really flatten out. It probably makes sense, but that's getting farther out.
Yeah.
They're using more regional demographic information. They don't have anything about our build-out, our available land, those things, those really local
Kind of a
things.
wide brush.
Right, that really will drive our numbers here, so.
Yeah.
What's our current population?
Hovering right around 5,000. It's either just under or just over.
800 or so.
And they've been protecting, we were gonna be 5,000, years ago. And we're just hitting that number now,
Yeah.
so.
But John is saying that he thinks that OEP is not overly off. So why?
I can see what's coming in front of the planning board. There's future places, there's development that might happen over on Mountain Road, which could be another 20, 25 houses. There's the one going off Guile Road. Is it Guile? Flutter. Yeah.
Flutter?
Flutter? You mean Flutter, right?
There's one in Flutter,
Okay.
yeah.
Flutter over here, not Dial back
No,
there.
there's Guile back there. We were just signed the,
The Oak Ridge stuff.
yeah, Oak
Yeah.
Ridge.
How many units?
God, I should know off the top of my head, and I don't. I want to say probably gonna be close to maybe 30 or 40 that's going in. That's a big development.
That's 30 or 40 in 2 or 3 stages?
Yes.
Or stage
Those
1?
stages could go quick.
Right,
Multiple
Again, you don't,
stages.
right,
there's no set time limit on how those stages are gonna go.
right.
So then you look at all the other possible land that's in town that could be developed. Nottingham's a very, you talk to a lot of people, it's a popular town to be in. So to see a growth of 100 houses or more, which might be a lot for the town of Fremont in 3 years, for Nottingham, might not be. And if you historically go back and look from what we did on the master plan, and you saw all that growth that happened in 2004, 2006, 2007, when the economy was really good, the way the economy's turning, we could see that growth again. So when you see that number, it's not chances to be that far.
Is
could
it
be that far
possible,
off.
is it possible for it to get a kind of a,
I'm not saying it's gonna be that high, but I'm saying don't think it's gonna go
Possible?
lower than what.
Well, the economy's a
Can we
good
get
thing to
those-
consider.
The
Can we
economy's a
get-
great thing to consider, because
Right,
that's really what's going to, and if interest rates stay low, the $300,000 house range that's Nottingham really targets at, if you look at the house for sale, it's, we're the town to be in.
can we get those projections, the ones that are on the burner right now, kind of numbers from you guys? Doesn't have to be real specific, but
Again, these are
Paul-
future case plan
Paul,
that.
Paul can provide
I was
that.
thinking
Paul
Paul.
can provide
Yeah,
that.
and those are,
Again, this is a projection, again, you don't know, that one development might not go, that takes
Yeah,
25
if
houses
you're
down.
gonna
There could
start
be another
looking
one
at that,
that's-
you have to kind of weight it.
Right.
Right,
Weight it
yeah,
according
of
to what's
course.
the probability,
Yeah,
right?
Yep.
right.
Where's the one on Guile? Is it on the paved part or the dirt part?
It's going off, what's it off? You got Robin Hood Lane, and you got Oak Bridge, is that the next one that's right there? Am I right there?
Yep, yep.
That little circle turnaround, well, it's going right in there all the way around, it's gonna come over
Well, that's,
towards,
that's the Falzone one.
yes, yeah,
Yeah.
Falls Homes, right.
Right.
But that hasn't started yet, I mean, but
Right,
it's,
but that's
it's
the one
coming.
that's gonna potentially be the multiple phases, but there's issues around that as well,
Okay.
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, so we can identify on the outside 150 in some, from conceptual,
Over the next
kicking
5 years.
it around the planning office to in the planning board pipeline.
Sure.
Maybe it's 150 or 200, so you discount that.
30 houses in a year, times 5, there's your 150, and that's
Right.
not a
But
Times 5
but
what?
you need,
times 5 years,
you
we were
need-
talking
Oh,
about.
yeah.
you need 500. You need 500 over 5 years to hit 10%. 10% growth from where we are today, which is what he's saying,
In population,
Yeah.
in population.
the average house was 5 people, we're talking people. huh?
No, the average
2.8.
house doesn't,
2.8.
2.7.
7.
2 point, let's say it's 3.
Yeah,
Go.
I hate that poor little .7
300
person.
people,
Yeah,
there's,
yeah, 150
Kinda like my
houses, okay.
family. How many? How many?
Yeah, yeah,
How many
150
people?
You need
houses.
150 houses times
Right.
3.
Yeah.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
the great unknown is the market.
Yeah.
yeah, that's gonna affect everything, because when it plunged in 8, there was, I was sitting on the planning
That
board,
was
there
it.
wasn't, or,
That was
Crickets,
it.
that was it.
right, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Some of these developments were planned out to sell out in 1.5 years. 6 years later, built the last one.
Yeah. And yours, right.
Okay, can
Okay,
we
so,
go on, young man?
So as you said, the projections are probably high.
Yes.
Yeah, but what Chris is asking us to consider is that it's about 10% over 5 years.
I think that's a fair estimate. It may be a little low, but I think it's probably better than what the state is projecting. I think it's more realistic. Are we gonna talk about the aging? Okay.
Yeah, aging is the next one. We don't have town-by-town projections on aging. Nobody does it. It's well beyond my capability to do it. This is the county. This is Rockingham County, 2010 versus 2040. The only thing that this is a countywide number. There is a great disparity within the county. Newcastle has a median age of like 56. Sandown has a median age of 38. So the populations of the different towns are dramatically different. Nottingham skews younger
Yeah.
than the county overall. The last time we had age data, real data, was 2010, so that's already stale. At that time, we were real heavy in preschool age kids relative to the county, and low on the 65-plus population. But that's pretty fat margins of error. It's, you know, it's not great science, but it's the best we got.
From the OEP thing that they put up online, the profile of Nottingham, it looked like 25% of our population right now are 55 and older. So within the next 10 years, that's gonna increase, of course.
Or it could decrease.
If they stay.
Well-
Because people that retired might not wanna live here anymore.
Well, that's,
You got younger people moving in,
that's the
look at it from
thing,
both ways.
that the homes that a lot of our older folks are in are not necessarily the kind of homes that the younger folks are looking at. They're looking at the new
They
builds.
could be more affordable for those younger people to get
Yeah.
into, so that's a whole nother one. I
But
mean,
what I'm saying is that I think we have to think about how can we as a town help our older folks stay in their homes? Because we want to.
Absolutely. But we want to make sure that we still cater to the people that are in our market, that are 30 years old to 50, that are paying the bigger tax for the houses, or we gotta look at those people too.
Yeah.
Just make sure you keep a
But if you-
broad picture of what's.
Right, if you have a lot of folks leaving their homes because they can't live in a rural community, because they can't drive and that sort of thing, you may see a number of
Taxes go up way
homes
too
that are
much.
empty, which will bring down the value of everyone's home. So it's very important that we do what we can to keep these folks in their homes.
It's important to keep everybody in their homes.
Oh, well, that's been my whole job. And you do
Yeah.
that by keeping the tax rate affordable.
Sure.
And that's been my entire time on the Board of Selectmen, is to realize that when the taxes go up for whatever reason, it
But you
negatively.
do not want to cut the quality of life for the people that are here at
I
their
think we've
rates,
done a
too.
good job of that.
No, I'm not saying you haven't, I'm
Yeah.
just saying though, but again,
It's very hard,
we're,
it's difficult.
we gotta, when we, what we're doing here,
Mm-hmm.
and when we look at the stuff that's gonna be needed for the future, you can't look at it and say, well, that could raise the taxes because the fact that it might hurt some people, but if it's beneficial for the majority of people, that's what we should be looking at too.
So you're
So
just suggesting,
way-
we need to look at the entire population, not just
Exactly.
one
Don't focus.
subsegment.
Because
No,
everybody
You can't overly
really needs
rotate
to-
on one
Yeah.
subset.
Because I'm in that other population who has another 20 plus 30 years of living in town, hopefully, and,
I'm there.
yeah, I'm just saying, again, I'm just,
Knock on laminate.
I think everybody sitting around here thinks that they're in that.
well, hey, I get older,
Yeah.
I might be moving to Florida like everybody else, who knows, we can see what happens.
Oh, you wouldn't like
That's true.
Florida.
In New England, the roads only go north and south. There's nothing west.
No,
Okay,
Okay,
This is all good.
so we get way into the population stuff. It actually doesn't, it doesn't drive capital spending as much as it drives operating spending.
Right.
So
Right.
we can get way off
okay. Good
until
point.
that growth means we gotta add school classrooms. That's the hump, right? That's the, in terms of tax impact, there are other humps, you know, if you need to add people to meet the need, then you have to equip those people, whether it's a police cruiser or what have you. Those are relatively small.
Those are more operating expenses.
They are, yes, they are,
But it's like quasi, right?
Right.
Right?
so population change, the mix, the age of the population, the mix of that age will cause some capital spending in some way, shape, or form, whether it's new classrooms or senior vans or whatever. And the only other thing that I identified in here is that as the town changes and demands change, I don't have that crystal ball, and I don't think you do either, but the kind of quality of life things that you talk about, who knows what services are going to be demanded. This is treating it as, we offer today's services into the future, where this doesn't project any changes in whatever we deliver as a, you know.
The one thing that's different about this CIP is it does not contain any school information.
I want to talk about that a little bit, if I
Yeah.
may. You mentioned classroom growth and so forth, and agreed that if the school requires that, it is going to be an expense in bonding and so forth, for which there is no savings plan at this point. There is no reserve to cover that, so it would be a new expense. The number one, I don't know why this, I'm confused. Why is the school board not participating in the general CIP this year?
Because you can't do one without the other,
Wait a minute.
in my opinion.
We
But go
we
ahead.
made the offer.
Yeah.
We invited the school board, they said that they would be doing their own CIP. So we asked the school board to send somebody to contribute to this, and they said they were gonna do their own CIP.
Does that comply with the authorization that the town has authorized to form a CIP committee?
Yes.
Done the research on that? I have.
Yeah, on the front page of what you got,
I'm reading it.
I don't think it even has the word school in it.
No, I noticed.
So this is a town,
The
From a-
RSA doesn't say they have to participate either.
correct. It says that you have to have somebody from the budget committee, if you have a budget committee, and you have to have somebody from the planning board. The whole CIP authorization, it shows up in a lot of different things, the reason for having it. If you want to have impact fees, you got to have a CIP. If you want to, but there's absolutely no mention of school in the law itself. It would be helpful, but it's,
So
don't know how you
they
could-
choose not to participate.
they said they were going to do their own.
And
That was the extent of my
they'll present their
conversation.
recommendations to the budget committee or what they consider the CIP program. That's the way I understand it from discussions on the budget committee as well. And with that, you mentioned the possibility, or not a possibility, but the consideration of maybe having to add to the school.
Right.
And that's predicated on student population. Do you have any statistics? I asked the school board, and they are unable to provide any projections beyond the current school year of what their anticipated school population will be. I'm not asking you to do that, but I'm asking you if you have anything. And to me, that would consist of, there was a survey or a critique or a report that was done in about 2008 or 9.
Several years ago, yeah.
To see if the school complied with what the population wanted. And within that study, the projection of student growth was predicated on the good times. And the grade school now should have about 600 and something children in it, because they used what they call the 3-year weighted average, which if you're on a line, it's going to continue that line and exacerbate that line. I've started work on the birth rate, which is one of the indicators. The second is on the work that John does on the planning board and the demographics of people that move into town. Those of childbearing age will probably have 1 or 2 children. The family of 5 and 6 children, I think, is long gone, especially within the educated class of residents, especially in the Southern California, Southern wishful thinking, Southern New Hampshire. So I didn't know if there's any stats on that, but I'm compiling a list of births, and what I'm seeing without an analysis is there's been a considerable drop in the birth rate. And so I'm thinking that we're in a bubble right now of growth in the school. In other words, we may be at the max student population without taking into consideration new growth, which is interesting.
So let me just interrupt. Let's stay focused on the town CIP.
Okay, thank you.
It's hard to,
Because
that's such a huge expense, though, the school, that it's very hard to.
That's why
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
It does,
The-
in
well,
reality.
Hold on a second. For the purposes of our CIP that we're doing for our town, we should be focused on these things. Let's make some choices and have some recommendations on these things, okay?
After having
Let's-
said what I said, I
Neither one
agree
of
with
these
you.
groups are autonomous.
Let's,
There's a limit to the amount of money
Actually,
that can be
They are a
spent.
separate district.
They are a separate district, but it comes out of the same wallet. The
Understood.
money comes out of the same wallet. We
Understood.
can't act like the school is never gonna have to have a building put on and we just spend like there's no tomorrow. You can't do that. You've gotta have, at
So-
least in the back of your mind,
me
is
try
there gonna
this.
be an increase in the population?
Okay, so this is what I propose that we do, so that we can get something done. We focus on the town CIP. When we're done with the town CIP,
The budget committee, sorry.
we will offer our findings and our plan to the school. We will ask them to then reciprocate so that we see theirs. And then we can make any final adjustments based on who's spending what where.
So we won't finalize it until we see some numbers, hopefully.
Well, we may finalize ours, and they may finalize theirs, but if we will just separate these things so that we can make progress, then we have a possibility later on of opening a dialogue that says, hey, this is what we're thinking, what are you guys thinking? And we can see how it goes then,
I agree
right?
with Mark.
I will offer this much, that OEP was suggesting that the population, school-age population in New Hampshire is gonna drop from 17% to 13% in the foreseeable future, so.
And can
For
we?
the benefit of that discussion, I won't bring it up again. I agree with you, is why I'm saying that.
Thank you.
We should concentrate on this.
So can we?
But that was a side note
Yeah.
based on what was
Okay.
brought up.
I mean,
We just spent 15 minutes on that side note. Can I get agreement of everybody here that we will, from this moment forward, focus on the town CIP?
I'm ambivalent.
So that's a yes. That's a yes.
Yeah, but you gotta have it in the back of your mind.
You have it in the back of your mind, but.
Yep.
but
No,
we
no, I
want-
agree that our main focus is, but I'm always a little nervous to spend too much when you don't know what else is gonna come down the pike.
Okay, but
We're not
everything,
spending any money.
we're not, yeah.
Exactly.
And-
We're
We're
planning to
looking-
spend money.
We are looking at what the future expenditures could be. When it goes to a vote to what we buy and what we have, it comes to the town meeting who make those votes or to the, we don't,
But we're explaining why we need it, and how we're gonna come up with the money, and how this is gonna affect the tax rate without letting people know the entire picture, and that, but that's, we'll go on.
But we are, we're
You
gonna.
got a yes from me.
Okay, I got a yes
Yeah.
from you?
Oh, yeah.
Is that a yes?
just think about what you said. But I don't wanna talk about the school. I just wanna talk about this.
So
Yeah,
that's a
so
yes.
that's a yes.
I'm a yes.
I'm a yes.
You're ambivalent, that's a yes?
Yeah,
Yes?
I don't vote.
Okay,
shut up,
shall we proceed?
Please.
just teasing.
I'm out of pictures.
Oh, good, that was it?
Where do you want to go from here?
That was great. And just email us those, please.
Yep.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I think what we have to do is kind of take the new information, kind of digest it with what we already have, and start, do we want to vote on the things that we think we need? Is that's how we used to do it? We used to number, like, the new, a new ambulance. How important is that? 1, 2, 3. 1 being the most important, even to 5, yeah, prioritize.
Can you step us through this sheet?
Okay, what number?
This sheet,
What's that?
it doesn't have a page number
Facilities
on
and
it.
major assets.
Sorry.
I'm gonna ding you on that.
Okay.
You left out the page number.
This is gonna be a big,
This was good.
yeah, we can start at 10 minutes.
All I wanted to know is if, Chris, if you could step us through the areas where there's primary concerns, right?
Oh, you're on facilities and major assets?
Facility major
Okay.
assets.
Yep.
Just so you're sensitizing us to what those are and we have the background data.
Okay. That's this page. Right,
Yeah.
everybody with me?
Yep.
Okay.
Facilities and major assets, page 14.
Okay, just to run through the major assets, so this building, community center, police station, the roof, we got a piece of it done this year, you're gonna hear from me about another piece next year. The HVAC system is holding up okay, but it's aging. We've started to set money aside for that. And then we have the whole back vacant, whatever you want to call it, that we just need to deal with at some point. There's no threat, there's no
Structurally,
liability.
it's fine.
It's structurally, it needs roof work if we're going to ever do anything with it.
But I'm talking about the foundation and the frame.
It's not going to fall over.
I think we should see if there's is there a need immediately for more rooms, in your opinion, that kind of thing?
No, we do not have a pressing need to put that space to use right now. I would not call it a priority.
So the
Would we
population-
use it if we had it? Yes. Is it a priority?
Of course you would.
No.
Okay,
But I think when we get to that point, for that back building, when we say we need more space, I suspect we're gonna decide to knock it down and rebuild space.
something
Because it's gonna cost so much to redo that roof.
You might as
And
well.
bring that space up to a point where you could use it. that you'd be better off to design a space that fit your needs and then build it, rather than try and convert that to something you can use. I think
What's
that's
the
what.
age of that, I suppose?
Mid-80s or mid-70s?
I think this is.
Earlier
that's
than
the-
that.
That's the older, yeah, I would say 70s.
We have a,
It's very outdated.
we have a report on that structure from 2 years ago.
Oh, really?
The only issue is, and maybe this is something we want to consider, the main electrical feeds to the building, to this building, come in over there.
Okay.
And so we
Okay.
may want to, consider moving that mess so that you're feeding this building.
Yeah,
Independently.
you may see that in next year's budget. I'm waiting for the kind of quickie survey on that.
Okay.
How do we translate what we talked about to funds for this year, and where they're going to appear as a warrant article or in the budget?
You will, well, you have,
And how does the CIP get involved?
yeah, you have those single sheets that I emailed you from each department.
All right.
You don't have printouts of those because there's like 50 pages of it, and I just emailed it to you, but I can print them for you if you want. I have submitted for this building another piece of the roof for next year, and I will bring that to the selectmen as part of the budget process, starting.
Those came from department heads and.
Yep.
and-
They're
and you-
requesting capital improvements. That's how we know what we need. Does anybody want a copy of all of those? They will appear in the final printout of the report, and maybe in several copies.
I don't want a hard copy.
No.
I've got them
No.
Okay.
soft. I'll leave them soft.
Off,
Okay.
digital.
Fire station, no major significant structural concerns, it's holding up well.
Could I go backwards just
yeah.
a second? For those 50, is there any summary of them that says police department car, this?
This has it by department,
So these are the summarization of what those requests are?
yes.
Cool.
Everything on one of those pages is in here.
Good.
Yes, by year, you'll see,
In here.
Okay, that's,
yes.
This section.
that certainly
Yeah.
Yeah.
suffices.
So Chris, you got 5 minutes before these guys
Okay,
have to
I'm
leave.
trying, the library needs roof work, and could take better advantage of their outdoor space. The recycling center, no major pressing concerns other than its overall age. Obviously, if you walk in the place, you can see it's old.
Yep.
We've invested in it over the last few years, but, that's the general.
They've got one other thing they're gonna do to the doors to let them go in
Yeah,
and
that's
out.
gonna be done
Right.
in
But
6
that's not
weeks.
a
No, that's not a CIP level thing. The highway garage and the salt shed are both young and in good shape. The gravel pit, if you hold a gun to John Fernald's head, he'll give you a number of how long it's gonna last, but it's really just a guess, but his guess is 10 to 15 years. The gravel pit saves us a lot of money on an annual basis in road sand and gravel road reconstruction work.
Is there another one available somewhere that we can be starting to scope our eyes on?
I'm not aware of anything in town. There's one piece that maybe, but certainly nothing that's anywhere near as good as what we have. Let's see, the old fire station, it is what it is. The town beach, parking is tough. We need to invest in that a little bit. The athletic fields here, obviously, condition, capacity, parking, you're familiar with those. We have a new bug growing out there, I just learned this evening. The old town, yeah, there's something,
Invasive plant.
no, it's an insect problem, it's messing with our grass.
Oh, it's eating the grass, okay.
Okay.
The old town hall is, it's beautiful and vacant, gets a little bit of use. It's, to do much more with it, we're gonna run into septic capacity problems and parking problems. But it's there.
We should be moving some assets.
The Dame School seems to be holding up pretty well, given its relatively low traffic. The Grange gets even less traffic. The cemeteries, we have some road work to do in the cemeteries, but other than that, they're not in horrible shape. Those are our building assets. Cisterns and hydrants, we've talked about kind of planning for how to update those or deal with them as they age out. Those installed in the 80s and during the developments in the 80s are now 30 years old. I don't have any data for you on those, but we need to figure out a way to build that into our routine.
Do we have any that are leaking right now?
No, we had a new one that was leaking, but that seems to be holding up okay. All our other existing ones are, as far as we can tell, are okay. And then you get further and further down the list. IT systems, they barely now reach into CIP. You know, the IT stuff gets cheaper and cheaper, so we have more work to do there, but it's not going to kill us.
You can never catch up because it's always changing.
Well, it's getting cheaper over time to catch up, so
Yeah.
we'll get there.
This is great, Chris. This is a good
Summary,
summary, good view.
yeah.
And then other assets, the landfill, such as an asset, conserved lands and town-owned parcels. There's nothing brewing there, so.
Okay. So
There you
that-
go.
This was a good beginning, and we should probably get together in the near future,
Yes.
before we forgot what we were just talking about.
Yeah.
Today is the
15.
15th,
excuse me,
14th.
14th.
Yeah, don't scare me like that.
So what is your ask of the,
Where do you want to go from here? Who do you want to talk to and when? Well, let me rephrase that. What more do you need at this level? Who do you want to talk to and when?
I think you gave us the things that we need tonight up there, so as soon as we get those, I think we'll be good.
I'm
You want to
very-
hear from the highway
I'm
department?
very interested in talking about roads in gory detail. Because I think that that's an area that, especially if we're gonna have population growth and especially with pending possible retirements. That's an area that I have, you know, a little agita over, what are we gonna do? So, knowing that whoever were to come in might wanna do things differently, you know, what do you do, when do you do it, what are the expenses we're looking at? You know, how do we make sure that the roads in the town are gonna be
When he does it and how he does it
taken care of forward?
is probably not something the CIP needs to discuss. That might be more on a.
It's a
on
back of my mind kind of thing.
Board of Selectmen can talk with him
Yeah.
about that. I don't think it has anything to do with the CIP. But, you guys gotta run. So let's make our next appointment with these guys. What's good for you folks? Doing it before your normal meeting is probably a good way to do it. Does that give you
No, it
enough time?
puts a dead end to it if we're in the middle of discussing something. I'd
We
say-
can do that offline, but you,
absolutely.
you want to continue to do this during your Monday night meeting? Do you want to have a workshop with a couple department heads? What's your?
Can you guys meet in the morning? If we wanted to meet with the department heads in the morning?
I can't.
Okay, so then it'll be evenings.
Be in the evening.
That's
I
fine.
got a job too, but I can talk to the boss.
I don't have that flexibility.
Any other department heads?
Just,
We talked we talked to highway, fire, police.
Do you want all of them to come in and talk this stuff with you, or
That's
do
what we
you?
usually do.
well, that's where we got some
With the big money.
big ticket items. Fire department?
But we definitely gotta talk to fire department.
Highway and.
Highway and fire.
I think
What else
highway
is
and
it?
fire are the areas that the most
Exposure.
pressing things are coming up, right?
Yep.
Okay.
You know, police, it just seems to be he's turning the crank,
Yeah.
right? He's gonna
You're
want another
right.
vehicle.
Unless, occasionally, they need another, police officer, and we have never put
But
that
that's
into
a
the.
C- that's a
not
CIP that's not a CIP thing,
It
it's an
isn't, but
operating expense thing.
sometimes we talk about it during the CIP, just so that.
Highway and fire.
Yeah.
Okay.
What about the rec department for future expansion of fields and stuff like that?
Rec
Or-
department?
Or is that some, because we haven't figured out what the Marston projects, or what, we haven't narrowed that down?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
'Cause that
It
was a
might be
big picture
premature.
of what-
Yeah.
Well, not premature, because that's something where we gotta figure out, if you're gonna put an article out or something out, or save money to put, or for
We haven't
future
even talked about
expenditure.
that.
I'm saying it.
Okay, okay.
I think we will be hard pressed to have a substantive discussion on fields until we get through
Right.
our engineering discussion, so. Any numbers we give you,
Get that
will be-
taken care of yet?
it's out now, we're waiting for
Good right now.
responses.
Good.
Yeah. All right, I will work offline with you to schedule highway and fire,
Okay,
and we'll go from there.
great.
Okay,
Bye,
guys,
folks.
Thanks, guys.
thank you very much. It's gonna be fun.
Gentlemen. And you.
So, we got
But
the
only
CIP.
tonight.
We-
Good job, Chris.
Very nice. We were invited to support a lawsuit by the city of Dover regarding the education adequacy gap lawsuit that they filed. From what I understand, they're not asking for any money, they're just asking for kind of, I don't know, I guess a vote of confidence, I guess.
What is the aid that they're saying is being capped? What is that aid
It's
all
the
about?
per student education adequacy grant.
And what does that entail?
Talk about
This
school.
is a complicated issue, and I'm finding that it's a lot more complicated. Right now, there's Dover is filing a lawsuit against the Department of Education regarding the adequacy grant. There's Croydon, looks like they're probably gonna be suing Department of Education. I've been,
That doesn't have to do with adequacy, though.
it has to do with where the money can go, private
Correct.
schools versus
It's-
public
that's a
schools,
separate
and
issue.
choice.
Yes, that's a separate issue.
But I think what it's indicating, and the problem that we're having in our town, which kind of came to a head at the last school board meeting on September 2nd, is that the Department of Education is having a hard time mulling through the myriad of laws that have come down through the legislature. And so I think that's exactly what's Dover's having that problem, Croydon's having that problem, I think we're having that problem, in my opinion. And so what we're seeing is that there needs to be direction given to the Department of Education. In our case, where the education adequacy money can be applied in our town, that's the question I asked. They're gonna set up a task force to try and figure out where the money is supposed to be going.
So,
But that doesn't relate to this.
But what I'm saying,
This
well,
has to
just
do
give me a
with
minute.
Dover
Just-
doesn't believe they're getting their share because they're capped.
And I have
right?
to agree with that. If the law is designed to give every child in this state an adequate education, I don't see how you can possibly cap it if you've got children in your town that have to have an adequate education. That's my own opinion. But what I was building up to is the point where I think we need some direction from the courts. I think the courts have to look at the law and say, in this particular instance, this is the law, and that gives direction to the Department of Education. So,
Do you have an ask on this, Mary?
do I have an ask on it?
Yeah, I mean,
What does that
no,
mean?
we've been
We've been
asked.
asked by Mike
I
Joyelle.
understand, but do you have an ask of this board relative to that?
Yes. That's what
You're
we've
asking
been
us-
asked, we've been asked by the department, Dover, city manager to give them a vote of confidence in this lawsuit. Go ahead, miss.
So, just so I'm clear for the minutes, this adequate education,
Per student adequate education,
this essentially is the state portion
yes,
of the funds that the town receives.
yep, right.
Correct? And some towns have X million number of students, but Department of Education is saying we're only going to give you
Oh,
or allow this much money
okay.
towards those students, which may not equal the total number of. I know
So
I'm sure you-
every student in the town, in the state, is not getting the same amount of money from the education adequacy grant money.
Right, so Chris, this is the case where they establish a basic rate that it takes $2,000 or whatever to educate a student.
3,900 and
Whatever it
something,
is,
yeah.
they change it every year.
Yeah,
Is that right?
The crux of Dover's issue is that the legislature capped the growth of these funds at a rate lower than Dover's school population is growing, and that same thing is happening in other places. So the faster growing towns are losing the benefit of this revenue, and the slower growing or shrinking school populations are disproportionately rewarded.
but it's all about the student, and each student should be receiving that grant, no matter if they live in Dover or they live here.
Does our SAU have a view of whether it would be helpful if Nottingham Town were to support this or not?
That's where I was going. That's what I think we need.
I don't think it matters. I mean, we were asked by,
Well, we've been asked by a city that's run by a town council and and a mayor. And I understand where you're coming from, Mary. And when I look at the table, they're saying there's $619,000 there. I would like the SAU to say to us, geez, would that number be in essence the number associated with the law that they were referencing, the change in the law that they were referencing, that was a Board of Education law?
that's why I think it's important to go before the courts. I think that this has to get before the courts. The more that we can have the court weigh in on what's going on up at the Department of Education, the better. And it's not gonna cost us anything.
Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying I'm not supportive of it. I just would like to understand what the SAUs has to say.
Yeah, I'm not in favor of making a decision on this without input from the
When
SAU.
does the decision need to be made?
They filed a lawsuit, so it doesn't really matter what we do. So you guys can talk to SAU till you're blue in the face. I think that it should go before the courts, and I don't think that this in any way
Well, wait a minute.
changes anything.
Wait a minute. I didn't say that I was opposed to supporting it. I just wanted to have some information.
They were asking for it pretty quick because they were filing their lawsuit
And so the lawsuit's been filed, and how long ago was the lawsuit filed?
today.
Today.
And so they're looking for some support.
Okay.
And it's kind of nice to have support when you're taking on a big state agency.
And what would our support
This is what they asked
come in
us
the
to,
form of?
this would be the Nottingham Board of Selectmen vote to support the actions of the city of Dover in suing the state over school funding. The statute at issue in the suit places an unconstitutional cap on education adequacy aid that deprives growing communities of their full payment for educational adequacy. The cap is arbitrary and unconstitutional, and I agree, because every child is able to have, or should be able to have, the same amount of money. But anyway, its effect is to downshift costs from the state to local taxpayers. We urge the state to quickly resolve the suit by agreeing that the cap is unconstitutional and removing it, beginning with the adequacy payment due to the schools on September 1st. So it is time sensitive.
I'm not opposed to supporting it. I just want to understand what our SAU's view is.
Yeah, but we don't have time to ask them.
I'm
and
not
sure they
supposed to
would weigh
supporting
on
it. Make a motion.
Okay,
Make a motion.
I just made the motion. A second, please.
I'll second it.
Okay. I'm not sure that they can do their own. I'm sure they've been asked to weigh in on it too, I would assume, but we've been asked specifically.
Okay.
And so I see it as an excellent opportunity to get some of these questions before the court, rather than a focus group.
And it doesn't cost us anything other than a letter.
Right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm against it without having the input of the SAU and the school.
We are autonomous, and they'll tell you that they are too.
I'm not educated on what the school needs and how this all works, and I would like a more informed opinion before I put my name on something represented in the Board of Selectmen.
Okay. It passes 2 to 1.
And the reason,
So can you-
just so you all know, the reason I am supporting it is because of the statements that it's making and the fact that we have seen downshifting. But I am also very interested to understand what the SAU has to say.
It would be nice to
I
know,
can't, I
yeah.
couldn't understand why they wouldn't support something like this, but they may.
Could you please make sure that the minutes reflect the reason that I voted against it?
Yep.
Thank you.
Can you pass the information on to, City Manager Joyelle? That it passed the Board of Selectmen?
Yes.
2-1. Okay, so that's taken care of, and we have to appoint the rec revolving committee. Do you have the names there? Thank you, sir. There is a, we are setting up a recreation revolving fund committee. The committee will have the charge of reviewing related statutes and make recommendations to the Board of Selectmen on the following. One, what methodology should the selectmen use to determine which recreation department-related revenues and expenses should be allocated to the rec revolving fund and which to the general fund? 2, should the selectmen set a target amount needed in the rec revolving fund, and if so, how? 3, are there other policies or internal controls not currently in place that are recommended relative to the recreation revolving fund? And this was per town meeting vote on March 2015 to set up this committee. And right now we have 5 folks that have volunteered. Skip Severance, Bill Garnett, Andrew Martin, Dee Decker, and Brian Dobson. Yeah, I have,
Let me read the motion.
yeah, want to do the motion?
The Board of Selectmen appoints the following to an ad hoc committee on the Recreation Revolving Fund. Skip Severance, Bill Garnett, Andrew Martin, Dee Decker, and Brian Dobson.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, guys and lady. Done. Okay. Now, we were going to talk about the LSRs.
Yes, the two issues that you wrote to legislators about this summer are both the subject of legislative service requests, which are the step one in getting a bill filed. Representative Spillane has filed one for, this is just a short description, it obviously isn't the language, but prohibiting a town meeting from materially changing a petition warrant article is the general subject matter.
Who submitted that?
Representative Spillane, James Spillane. And Representative Dean Bailey submitted one permitting selectmen to appoint undeclared voters as inspectors of election. You had asked me to invite the delegation and anybody else that was interested to come to a meeting, which we did, to discuss those two things, which we had scheduled for next week. And it looks like two of you are not going to be in town, or at least not available that night. So I'm about to call them off and say, don't come.
Yeah.
You got what you asked for thus far. I don't know if you still need to talk to them beyond that. On both issues, I know that there are people that understand exactly what you're asking for, so.
Can you have them kind of keep us on their mailing list so we see that thing evolve?
Yep.
Both of them?
These will turn into bills, and we can watch them when that happens.
Okay.
And there may be a role for you later in the process, but if you still want to talk to them, I can try and reschedule them, but if
No.
you don't think it's necessary.
You can invite them in next Monday for coffee and donuts, and I'll be here.
With you?
How sweet.
All right.
Won't
How
be
about
meeting.
yourself?
It won't be a meeting, but I'll report back on whatever happened.
Okay.
Well, are you serious or
I can
just
bring-
joking?
No, I'm serious. If they want to come in and chat, why not? I mean, me and Chris can chat with them. It won't be a meeting. We won't be able to do anything, and I certainly would not.
And you can report back to us, I guess.
I can report back. I can find out what's on their minds. You know, bring my dog in.
Do we want to make Chris come on a Monday night?
Yeah,
For that?
No, I'm just throwing it out there. If you guys don't want to do it, that's
Give you
fine.
$5 for
Nah.
that.
Those guys are busy too. If you're lonely, maybe we can find you.
I would suggest you save their time for when you.
Yes.
Really,
when you
really,
need it,
I agree.
because it's tough, it's very tough to get legislators.
And if they find out we're wasting their
Some
time, it's
legislators.
gonna be
And
harder to get
I'm
them.
very far from having nothing to do on a.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Okay,
So we
that,
have to
just wanted to throw
reschedule
it out
that
there.
meeting.
I don't care.
yeah, that segues into this piece of paper, which is your fall calendar.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. I think, didn't I?
It's in here somewhere.
Not to be critical of my bosses, but scheduling you three,
We know, we
You wouldn't
know,
want to
we
be critical
know.
of your bosses.
Sorry, Chris.
This is not normal. This is not normal at all. This is unusual. Okay,
we,
we did that.
Where is it?
Do you want to work a couple
No,
of
I know I
Mondays
have
in
it
a
in-
row
I
in
know I have it in here
November to
somewhere.
catch up?
No, this-
It's here somewhere, I know.
I think our crunch is, we wanted to get CIP done before we did the budget,
we did that.
right? And
Oh, we
no,
started it. Yeah, yeah.
We want to be done now.
So next Monday night, was there another night next week that we could do it? That we could meet?
I didn't get that far because the last exercise like that was a real party.
Yeah, I think that we shouldn't try to do that. I think we should try to keep integrity to the meeting schedule.
We will have a very hard time both finalizing the CIP and getting you face-to-face with our department heads on budget prep if we don't do something other than a Monday night between now and early November.
Okay. Tell us what you think. Yeah, go ahead.
I think you should all be here every other Monday night without exception. But it doesn't work that way.
That didn't work, so try, let's try it again.
I guess I'm gonna have to look at your travel schedules and other things and try and propose some alternatives, but.
Could we have a meeting with somebody on conference? We can Skype in.
I'm gonna be on a plane, so I'm not gonna be able to Skype next
We
week.
got Wi-Fi in planes.
It's very hard to have a private meeting.
We can hear,
Good point.
Let me start with this. Would you be opposed to meeting more Mondays in October than you're currently scheduled?
I think that's probably what we're
No,
gonna
that's
have to do.
as long as it's the second part of October.
Now, I can't because it's Thanksgiving on the
You do it.
October's, Thanksgiving's in November,
Canada.
oh, Canadian
Yeah.
Thanksgiving.
Eh?
That's Columbus.
Halfway up, halfway down.
Columbus
Wait a
Day, isn't
minute,
it?
wait a minute. I think October so far is really good for me, because I made everything be a Tuesday through a Sunday.
Oh,
Well, the
cool.
problem is we already have 2 in October, and then one of the third ones is Columbus Day, right?
Yeah, seriously. That really
I'm
stinks.
not working Columbus Day. Columbus has nothing over me.
I'm not working.
So that would mean the 26th.
I'll
or
take minutes.
We'd have to do it then.
Which is fine, if we can wait that long.
Again, I don't know why we just don't pick another night next week if we,
Well, it's unlikely we would get our state reps. We know we won't get our CIP.
Yeah, don't even
need
think
that.
about the
No,
state
no.
reps.
Well, we don't have,
There's only one.
there won't be anything to do another night next week.
okay.
Uh,
Then what are you giving us grief for?
We could meet on the 13th of October, that's the Tuesday after Columbus Day.
That's
Is that good
less
for
than
you?
ideal for me, but,
And
Well,
Columbus
it's
Day has
not
nothing to
good.
do with it for me. I don't even.
how do you two feel about Columbus Day? Is that Canadian Thanksgiving?
Generally, I don't work
What do you-
on
what do you-
Canadian Thanksgiving. but-
What is it, back bacon and what?
Shut up, you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with it.
I don't have a
but
problem with that at
I'll
all.
With what?
respect Mary's heritage.
If it wasn't in my calendar, I wouldn't even know it was.
What are you asking?
Columbus
To
Day,
a meeting on
the
Columbus
12th.
Day.
The 12th.
Yeah.
Are we gonna be able to get
I'm-
people
I'm
to
here.
come in on that one? Are we gonna hope to have,
be
like, the
jet lagged, I'll
CIP or,
I don't know.
Look
I'm
into
just
it.
looking for some flexibility.
those guys were just
So,
here, we could have asked them.
The 12th or the 26th
Are
are
both alive?
alive.
Okay,
I'm alive.
I'll work with that.
Okay, so just let us know.
If
when
you could just
decide.
offline, if you know you're traveling, let me know
Mm-hmm.
when.
I don't have any other known travel,
Okay,
except for a Friday, and that doesn't impact.
okay.
You-
And I think I
already
have
mine.
Are
yours.
you traveling?
You have mine and.
Oh, what, dear?
It is just a reminder that the Board of Assessors have a meeting on the 5th, so don't schedule CIP on the
Oh, thank you, good idea.
Why don't they, don't schedule their meeting on the 5th?
You tell Sue.
I will.
All right.
All right, that's something to work with, okay.
You'll get back to us on that.
Yes.
Thank you. Parking, the 10th, the 5th of October is the parking ordinance public hearing, so that is going forward. That's what it says here,
On the 5th, yeah.
5th of October.
Yeah. We have a normal meeting set up on the 5th of October. Yes, so we can do
And
normal.
that's supposed to have the parking ordinance public hearing, so we probably have to get some notices out.
Is that the one that we're supposed to put in the paper or not?
That one is, no, that's, you're thinking of the poll license
Oh,
thing, that's in November.
Scared you, didn't we?
it's,
You looked a little pale there for a minute.
Okay.
Okay, where's my agenda? I've lost my agenda, and I'm trying to find my,
Other than non-public, that is the last thing that you have,
I had my,
I believe.
okay, so, I think we have a, any updates on the Mendham's Pond House? I haven't heard anything.
Oh, there was a really long email about it, but they're on track, is the short story.
It didn't flood anybody, or,
They haven't started the drawdown yet.
oh, okay, I thought they
Oh, well,
had.
actually, no, maybe it's this week it starts. Where are we? The last communication was they were on track, so I haven't,
I think the lamprey was coming up, and I assumed it was because of Mendham's, but maybe I was wrong, okay. Okay, so we've done our public meeting, so I need a motion to go into non-public under
A and E.
A and E? Okay. I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion that we enter non-public per RSA 91-A:3, 2, A and E.
And this is a roll call vote. Mr. Carpenter?
Mr. Carpenter, aye.
Donna Danus, aye.
Ms. Bonzer? Aye. Good night, folks. We're going into non-public. Have a great evening.
We're gonna adjourn the meeting when we come out of non-public.
Yes, thank you.